findings emerged, exposing a Malaysian cartel engaged in a 40 years illicit trade of counterfeit halal meat. The impact on the Muslim community is profound, raising concerns about dietary habits and religious convictions. Our investigation reveals a massive operation among high officials from multiple government departments. This scandal underscores the need for robust regulatory mechanism in the food sector. Public financial management, governing the collection, allocation, spending and monitoring of public resources become critical. The government's role in overseeing and regulating the food industry, especially certifying halal products through JAKIM, demands scrutiny. Adequate resource allocation for regulatory bodies and enforcement agencies is pivotal for safeguarding consumer interests and market integrity. Beyond health concerns, the involvement of a criminal network in counterfeit halal meat sales highlight potential weaknesses in financial controls. This scandal jeopardizes consumer trust and market integrity. Questions arise about the effectiveness of current oversight measures and resource allocation to ensure strengthened halal standard enforcement. The illicit trade of counterfeit halal meat is a betrayal of trust. Revealing regulatory vulnerabilities, we call for a thorough investigations, demanding accountability and transparency. Let this serve as a wake-up call for strengthening our regulatory system collectively. Thank you for joining us for this crucial report. I am Alia for 17 Channel, signing off.
Ma'am, have you ever thought about how financial management plays a role in the growth of a country?
Absolutely, sweetheart. Good financial management is crucial, not just for individuals, but also at the national level. What brought this up?
I was reading about it, and it says that a good financial management isn't just about safeguarding and utilizing resources, but it is also about driving economic growth and managing all national resources effectively.
That's right. It's about making sure resources are used efficiently to benefit everyone. It's also something about public sector organization needing an integrated financial management model (FMM) to provide accurate information for strategic decisions.
That is interesting. It shows that different sectors within the public service might have different levels of accountability awareness. And the perceived accountability in the audit scheme is below the general average level.
Ma'am, have you ever thought about the impact of corruption on a country?
It's a serious issue, honey. However, in Malaysia, they established the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) in 2008. It's an independent body leading anti-corruption efforts. From a litigation risk perspective, those directly negligent in their work concerning money can be punished under Malaysian law, and of course, accountability is crucial in the management of public resources.
Okay, Mom, so is this issue related to money laundering?
Yes, dear. In this case, a frozen meat supplier and its store manager and accountant were charged at the session court here today with 16 counts of money laundering involving RM 13.2 million. They were each charged with 4 accounts of accepting proceeds from money laundering activities totally around RM 30 million from the company's current account between 31st of October 2018 and 31st of December 2020 at the bank in Senai and Taman Molek.
Well, I was reading that money laundering is about making illegally obtained money to look clean. Criminals want to use their money without raising suspicions, right?
That's right. They try to make money from criminal activity like drug trafficking appear to come from legitimate sources.
But why is this necessary to them? Why don't they just use the money that they have?
Dealing with large amount of illegal cash is risky and inefficient. Using that money directly will attract attention. So, they need a way to deposit it in legitimate financial institution without anyone realizing it's from illegal activity. In this case, they are layering the money which causes money laundering.
What does it mean, Mommy?
It mentions that they transfer money between multiple bank accounts, often in different places. They also use shell company and even digital currencies to make it harder for law enforcement to trace the sources of the illicit funds. Layering involves creating a complex web of financial transactions. It's like trying to cover their tracks in a confusing maze. and the goal is to make it extremely difficult for law enforcement to follow the money trail back to its criminal origin. After successfully traversing the layering stage, criminals can shield themselves from detection and prepare to reintroduce their laundered funds into the legitimate economy.
It's disheartening to think about. Money laundering is just not a financial crime, but it has a broader implications for the economy.
Hey mom, I came across this concept in my political science class called New Public Financial Management (NPFM). What is it and how does this issue relate to the new public financial management, Mommy?
Well, it's a way of managing public finance that focuses on making government decisions more responsible, decentralized, equitable, and transparent. And the main idea is to provide financial knowledge to the government decision makers. It's all about making sure they have the right information to make responsible choices. So in this case, NPFM help government to teach the society to be aware about the good financial management with the help of NPFM.
How does it work, Mommy?
It's about giving decision makers access to timely and relevant financial information. That way, they can make informed decisions and improve overall efficiency in providing public services. So it's like making sure they have the right tools to do their job effectively. NPFM also promote decentralization. It means decision-making authority is given to lower levels of government, making governance more responsive and efficient. It emphasizes equity and transparency. The goal is to ensure fairness in how resources are allocated and to make sure the decision-making processes are open and understandable to the public.
That's right, Mommy. Equity and transparency are crucial.
The ultimate goal is better public service delivery. With more efficient decision making, reduce error and improve use of information technology, the aim is to enhance services for the taxpayers. It's important for us as citizens to understand how our government manage finance. I'm glad both of you are exploring these topics. It is essential for us to be aware of how our government operates.
Thanks, Mommy. If you want to talk about this issue again, we are here to discuss with you.
I just might take you up on that offer, sweetheart. Done with talking, guys. Let's go to supermarket.
Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. My name is Wanur Amila Aiza from Breaking News, and today I'm going to interview a few people regarding the symptom and indication of the fake halal meat cartel. The first symptom is obviously market price offered by the cartel is cheaper. The cartel buys the meat at up to 50% cheaper than meat obtained from certified slaughterhouses and processing plants due to the avoiding taxes and the procedure involved in importing certified halal meat. The second symptom is halal literacy rate is still low among the industry, including suppliers, entrepreneurs, and product manufacturers. We can say that the limited understanding and adoption of halal standard among certain food processing companies lead to many causes of halal fraud without feeling guilty. Also, some companies may not be comply with rigorous halal certification requirements. For example, the case of Rahman Sheikh Abdullah and his wife were merely charged with using a non-certified halal logo on the company's truck. However, there are so many other cases of the fake halal logo in Malaysia. We can see briefly about the halal procedure in the next point.
You know what, Mom? I think it is because the procedure to get the halal certificate is very complicated. That is why it leads to the fake halal logo issue.
Good morning. I am interested in applying for halal certification for my business. Can you guide me?
Good morning. Certainly, obtaining a halal certification involves several steps. So basically, the first one, you will need to ensure that your premises comply with the Malaysian Ministry of Health Safety Regulations.
I understand. but what are the specific requirements for the premises?
Okay, so basically the premises should be adhered to the general hygiene practices elements in their layout. So basically it's crucial to prevent any rats or cockroach into the drainage system, which must function correctly.
Got it. So after preparing the premises, what's the next step?
Okay, so the next step, you will need to prepare the information about your staff. Okay. This is for each employee must provide a copy of their identity card, which is IC or passport, and a food handler certificate, unexpired copy of their typhoid injection. So additionally, at least there are 2 Muslim or Malaysian employees are required to the application.
That seems detailed. What about the ingredients used in our product?
So basically, you must create a list of all raw ingredients and obtain the halal certificate for each item. This is to ensure that the products are compliant with the Islamic dietary laws.
I understood. But what is this internal halal control system?
So basically, this is a new requirement which effective since 1 January 2021. It's a system that you must develop to ensure that your business maintains halal compliance consistently.
That's something new. So after completing all this, what's the next step?
Okay, once you have completed all of the necessary documents, you must create a comprehensive halal file. Okay, so this file must be regularly updated and will be requested by the audit officer during the inspection.
Oh, so audit are part of the process?
Yes, audits are very crucial. So basically, their officer will review your halal file during the inspections, and also you will need to update all information into your My eHalal account, and which takes around 2 days to activate.
Finally, how do I officially submit the application?
Okay, so after you update your My eHalal account, you will need to submit your hard copy to the Halal Processing Division. Usually it will take 4 to 6 months to complete, but it can delay due to any various reasons.
I see. It sounds quite complex and time consuming.
It is, but it ensures that your business complies with the halal standard. Remember, every detail is important in maintaining the integrity of certification process.
Thank you for explaining the process. I will start working on the necessary steps.
My pleasure.
And mom, as I observe, maybe another symptom is because there are some official investigations and law enforcement operations that have been initiated against businesses suspected. You see, the government enforces laws to ensure that the imported meat is halal certified. Not only that, they also actively check whether the meat cartel operation is aligned with the regulation or not. To recap, if you remember, the enforcement body has also made a raid against a meat cartel company in Senai, Johor back then, where they repacked the imported meat and put a fake halal logo on it. All these things could be the reason why this meat cartel company wants to do this illegal business in Malaysia. And another one thing, if you can logically thinking, it is because the salary of the enforcement officer in Malaysia is very low. Really? Yes, mother. Enforcement officers who are the frontliner at the country's border are very vulnerable to corrupt activities. You know why? This is because they are also the general government officials who have a basic and average salary scale. This is why when they are offered money to allow irresponsible parties to smuggle illegal goods, they will tend to accept the bribe and the corruption happens.
I see.
For your information, mother, the police officer in Saudi Arabia have a high salary because of what? The Saudi government wants to prevent corruption from happening in that country.
Welcome to part 1. So, as you guys know, meat cartel issue has been happening in Malaysia. So, if you want to know about the factors that are happening, let's discuss one.
So the first factors is lack of transparency and accountability of agencies in charge in regulating food imports and halal certificates. This can be seen when a fried company handling imported meat in Malaysia has been accused of misconduct and bribery, allegedly importing frozen meat from countries without halal certification. This practice has been ongoing for years, with insiders at international ports turning a blind eye to falsified documents. So the next factor is the outdated documentation system has enabled forgery of documents like custom forms, import permits, and halal certificates, allowing fake companies to copy genuine logos and use them for their own transactions, leading to dumps about halal status. It was reported that these fake companies will use the halal certification for their imported meat without enforcement agencies' knowledge.
The next factor is when Malaysia does not have any special facilities that can detect or differentiate between halal and forbidden food goods that enter Malaysia. Any raw goods or raw foods that enter Malaysia cannot be inspected physically whether it is halal or not, since our country does not develop the technology yet. It is actually very important to have access to differentiate goods. However, the law has stated that non-halal goods do not have any restriction to be brought into the country if they have the legal permit and documents from the authorities that bar restricted goods from entering the country.
So, for the last factor is mafia or gangster involvement. Criminals often use red holes to succeed in their activities. Therefore, they often seek help from organized crime groups such as the mafia or gangsters. In the case of the imported meat cartel, there is potential for misconduct and corruption among parties involved in the inspection and importation of raw food items. Shipping agents may be corrupt organizations as they receive payment for their role in import and export documentation. In other words, agents become the mastermind or middleman that links the syndicates to the authorities.
It is impossible to reduce halal food fraud to zero because there are many parties involved. However, some changes are significant for the development of the halal industry. Overall, the improvement of the halal industry in eradicating the halal problem is suggested from our perspective and understanding based on the concern expressed by the informant.
The government can spread awareness or education to the consumer and as well as to the supplier and so on. Besides, in terms of spreading awareness, we must really understand that our country, which is Malaysia, is actually a plural society. So we have a lot of diversity in terms of culture, in terms of religion, ethnicity and so on. So there is some group of people that doesn't really know about how they need to follow the halal standard because they are not non-Muslim. So that's why the government have the responsibility in educating everyone on how they can actually at least understanding about the importance of following the halal standard because when we are following, this actually is very important to the Muslim community. We must eat halal meat. So that's why every ethnicity and religion needs to actually following, and if they found that the product that they buy it actually have a fair halal logo labeling, so they just need to actually need to complain to the related agency.
Okay, so I have a question. What will the government do to spread the awareness to the consumer and suppliers?
So to answer your question just now, I believe that the government can spreading the awareness to the consumer and to the supplier in two different ways. So for the first way, I think the government can do a workshop and training session to the supplier. And also, I think we need to educate them on delivering the legal consequences that they will face if they doesn't follow the halal logo. In terms of the consumer, we need to do a like we can spread awareness in through the media social, so that every consumer can really know about their rights, and they can directly reporting to the JAKIM or any related agency such as JAIN or MAIN. As for the second solutions, I believe that the government can do in terms of like increasing the number of power with the government agencies such as JAKIM, MAIN or JAIN. We need to understand that the enforcement officer is actually the frontliner officer. They are the one who protected the public, which is the consumer, and the supplier as well. So we need to understand having a necessary officer, the number of officers is very important, because they are the one who actually are doing the enforcement activity. They are the one who investigates any related issue that has been raised by the consumer. So how come we can ensure that this issue can be overcome if there is uneducated in terms of the manpower of the staff? So that's why I think the government needs to increase the manpower of the public agency.
Okay, if the government decides to just hire any manpower, how can the government guarantee that the quality is going to be okay?
We need to actually balancing in terms of the quality and the quantity. For your information, previously JAKIM and JAIS has already taking several number of people as their employees. So it means that they are just taking a lot of people just to increase the number of manpower, but they neglected the quality of them. So we actually need to have those officers that have a very good in terms of knowledge, skills and ability. They can carry out their tasks efficiently and effectively, so they can do their work very good, and they can actually overcome this issue by doing a proper investigation. So that's why we need to have we need to increase the number of manpower, but at the same time by doing a recruitment process, we must do it with diligently, we must do it properly. So that's why I think we must increasing the number of manpower that is competent. Nowadays we are in the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0, right? So it means that we need to actually fully utilize the current technology, and if we doesn't have the technology yet, so why not we just starting to develop and establish, and from that we can overcome this issue more effectively and efficiently, because we must because we know that when nowadays there's a lot of problem related to the fake halal meat cartel issue, right? So it means that they can either supplier or manufacturer or operator can simply copy the halal logo, and they can just demand the people or the consumer and attracting the Muslim community to eat or to buy their product, even though the meat or the product that they say is actually is non-halal ingredient, it has non-halal ingredient. So that's why we need to have technology to actually differentiate between the non-halal and halal meat.
I don't understand. So why is this important?
Because the integration of technologies such as blockchain and advanced scanning techniques, and or even the RFID stand for radio frequency identification. So these three technology, if the government or JAKIM or any related agency fully utilize it, it can actually overcome this issue. We can see the process. So the consumer has a right to know those meat is coming from where, and then the quantity, the ingredients. So that's why we must develop a very special scanning features where they can actually knowing that actually this product is genuinely halal, because all those information can be scanned through a smartphone. So when they scan the product, they know that okay, this product is coming from New Zealand, imported to or is being supplying which agency or which operator. And then I believe that this technology can improving the process of enforcement activity, because the JAKIM or JAIM or MAIN can detecting any supplier that actually doesn't following the halal standard. They can do some tracking.
Morning. I will be reviewing the rising concerns about the fake halal logos on imported goods. We need to take immediate steps to address this issue.
Absolutely. The integrity of our halal product is paramount. One key recommendation is to enforce a stricter standard operating procedure, which is SOP, for the certification of imported goods.
I agree. We need to ensure that our SOP is robust and up to date. Let's conduct a comprehensive review of the current SOP for certifying imported goods as halal. This review should align with the most recent international standards and address any potential gaps.
That's true. We should also update the SOP to incorporate the latest guidelines and regulations. So basically, this will only enhance the credibility of our certification process, but also make it more resistant to fraudulent activities.
Additionally, investing in a training program for personnel involved in the certification process is crucial. We need to provide them with updated knowledge on halal standards, fraud detection techniques, and international best practice. Building their capacity will empower them to identify irregularities effectively.
Absolutely. Well-trained certification officers are our first line of defense against fraudulent activities. Now, let's talk about the inspection. Regular surprise audits of halal certified importers will keep business on their toes and act as a deterrent.
I agree. We should allocate resources for an increased number of on-site inspections. This will verify the compliance of imported goods with halal standards and send a strong message that we are actively monitoring the market.
Okay, and also stricter documentation requirements are also crucial. You know why? We should impose detailed documentation including a comprehensive list of ingredients and supply certifications and clear evidence of compliance with halal standards. This will make it harder for fraudulent activities to go unnoticed.
And to further strengthen our stance, we must enforce civil penalties for business found guilty of non-compliance with halal standards. This could include fines, suspension of certification, or even legal action. Strict penalties will act as a deterrent and make business prioritize adherence to regulations.
True. So basically, the consequences are key. Additionally, implementing a robust whistleblower protection program is essential. It encourages individuals with information about potential fraud or non-compliance to come forward without fear, or reprisal can be instrumental in uncovering illicit activities.
Agree. We need the cooperation of everyone involved to maintain the integrity of our halal certification process. Let's work on this recognition collaboratively to ensure a strong and effective response to the issue of fake halal logos on imported goods.
Alright.
In conclusion, eradication of fake halal meat cartel is important in order to securing the Malaysian halal food system. To achieve this level, ethical human behavior must be practices for upgrading the social responsibility towards halal ecosystem. Say no to illegal meat cartel. Thank you.